Tonight, the overwhelming majority of the country on alert for dangerous and potentially deadly heat. Just north of Los Angeles, strong winds are fueling a massive wildfire, and a random shooting at a Michigan splash pad caps off a violent weekend. First, that treacherous heat wave. Forecasters say it has the potential to be the most impactful of this century in some places. 269 million Americans, that's more than 80% of the population, likely to experience temperatures in the 90s or higher this week. That intense heat is contributing to fire weather alerts across the West. A fast-moving wildfire north of Los Angeles caused more than 1,000 people to evacuate. Red flag warnings there are up. Wind gusts could reach 70 miles per hour tonight. Zohreen Shah from the fire zone. Somara Theodore times it all out. Police are calling the shooting at a Michigan splash pad random. 9 people are wounded, 2 of them in critical condition, including an 8-year-old boy. It's just one of multiple incidents in a weekend of gun violence. Presha reports from Michigan. President Biden out with a warning about the future of the Supreme Court under a second Trump administration. During a star-studded Hollywood fundraiser, the president said the winner of the 2024 race will likely fill 2 seats on the high court, a court that he said has never been as out of kilter as it is today. Overseas, Israel announces a daily tactical pause in the fighting to allow crucial aid to get through amid dire warnings from relief organizations. Tom Sufi-Burridge reports from Tel Aviv. The search for one missing American in Greece ends while the efforts to find another intensifies. The latest in a string of foreigners to go missing on the islands amid oppressive heat. How some states are helping homeowners with a possible break on property taxes. The message from Gordon Ramsey after the celebrity chef was involved in what he calls a serious bike accident. And America Strong tonight on this Father's Day. The dad who gave his son the gift of life twice.
From ABC News World Headquarters in New York, this is World News Tonight.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks so much for joining us on this Father's Day. I'm Lindsay Davis. As we come on the air tonight, dangerous and potentially record-breaking heat from coast to coast. More than 81 million Americans are under heat alerts, and that number is likely to soar in the days ahead. There is no escaping this oppressive heat. This week, 269 million Americans, the equivalent of 83% of the country, will experience temperatures above 90 degrees, and more than 20 million will face temperatures above 100. Meanwhile, north of Los Angeles, a fast-moving wildfire is scorching thousands of acres and forcing families to flee. We have team coverage tonight. Zohreen Shah is standing by with more on those dangerous flames. But first, ABC News meteorologist Somara Theodore leads us off. Somara, tell us about how dangerous this heat's going to be.
Lindsay, you know, what makes this heat so concerning is that it will be cumulative. That means not only hot days, but rather warm nights. Take a look. We're still seeing that heat impact much of the Southwest. Temperatures in the triple digits there, but notice how the heat continues to expand into the central part of the country by Monday afternoon and even into the southeast. We're also looking at major heat in the northeast. So much so, heat advisories have already been issued from Burlington, Vermont to central Pennsylvania, with excessive heat watches in effect for much of the Great Lakes. Looking at these highs, we're in the upper 90s on Monday in Chicago. As this heat dome persists, we could be looking at a very significant, if not one of the most significant stretches of heat we've seen in Detroit in the last 25 years. Lindsay?
Samara, thank you. Now to those menacing wildfires, one burning near a major highway in Southern California. More than 1,000 have been forced to evacuate, and hundreds of firefighters are trying to control those flames. ABC's Zohreen Shah is on the scene in Los Angeles County tonight.
Tonight, the urgent effort now underway. Firefighters battling multiple blazes burning in Southern California. More than 400 on the scene of the Post fire near Interstate 5 north of Los Angeles, already consuming more than 12,000 acres. The aerial assault continuing through the night.
Oh, wow, look at that McDonald's.
After the fire broke out Saturday afternoon. To show you how quick this fire came through, workers at the shop said this fire came through and burnt down these cars in just mere minutes. More than 1,000 people evacuated, multiple hikers rescued. Officials describing extreme fire behavior. The wind carrying burning embers as far as 3/4 of a mile from the fire line.
The winds are probably going to be the biggest factor in battling this blaze. It's going to make the effort much more difficult.
The National Weather Service issuing a red flag warning for long duration strong winds and low humidity.
Today, 55-mile-per-hour gusts are possible. Tonight, though, 70-mile-per-hour gusts are possible.
Meanwhile, north of San Bernardino, the Hesperia fire also raging. More than 1,000 acres burning there. And Lindsay, you can see that shopper behind me just got some water from a nearby lake. You can see it making that drop any second right now. And meanwhile, there's a red flag warning that goes on until tomorrow morning and a separate high wind warning that goes on until Tuesday. Lindsay?
That wind and heat, a bad combination. Zohreen, thank you. Next tonight, a violent weekend of mass shootings across the country. 9 people, including a 4-year-old boy, were hurt in what appears to be a random shooting in Michigan. Police say the gunman opened fire at a splash pad park near Detroit. 2 people are dead and several others hurt during a shooting at a Juneteenth celebration in Texas. More now from ABC's Alex Presha.
Tonight, authorities say there are dads in a Detroit suburb spending Father's Day in the hospital after a gunman randomly opened fire at a Rochester Hills splash pad park.
Can only describe the last 24 hours as a nightmare.
Authorities say 9 people were injured. The youngest, a 4-year-old boy, shot in the thigh, in stable condition at the time. His mother with abdomen and leg wounds. His 8-year-old brother shot in the head. Both listed in critical condition Saturday.
Our focus is on, in particular, the one family. You can't imagine running into a scene where there's flip-flops and ice cream cones and children laughing and playing just minutes ago.
This stroller left behind in the chaos. The city says the gunman reloaded twice, firing as many as 28 rounds from a semi-automatic handgun. Law enforcement says the 42-year-old suspect barricaded himself in a nearby home he shared with his mother and later died by suicide. Deputies say they found an AR-15 style weapon on the table inside.
We got to get a lot better at prevention because we've gotten too damn good at responding.
The violence in Oakland County mirrored in other parts of the country. 2 people were killed and several others injured during a Juneteenth celebration Saturday night in Round Rock, Texas. Police say when shots were fired during a fight near a concert stage.
It breaks your heart for a family that was coming out to enjoy their evening, and now their life is forever changed.
And in Methuen, Massachusetts, officials say 7 people were shot, 2 injured critically after a pop-up party organized over social media erupted in gunfire. Police say there were hundreds in the crowd. The victims range in age from late teens to 22. Authorities believe it was a targeted shooting.
It's incredible that not more people were hurt or killed.
There could have easily been more casualties there. Alex Presha joins us now live from a memorial in Rochester Hills, Michigan. Alex, we know authorities say violent crime has a tendency to tick up during the summer months, but let's put this in context. What are authorities saying about crime stats so far this year?
Well, Lindsay, this memorial just wrapped up, but despite this weekend's headlines, the FBI says that reported violent crime is actually down 15% for the first quarter of this year compared to the same time last year. And data from the Gun Violence Archive says that the U.S. is on pace to have the lowest daily mass shooting average since 2019. Lindsay?
That would certainly be welcome news. Alex Presha, our thanks to you. Now to the race for the White House. President Biden and former President Trump both on the campaign trail. Biden's team says they raised $30 million at a star-studded event in Hollywood Saturday night where the president blasted the Supreme Court. And Trump was in the key battleground state of Michigan looking to woo black voters. Here's ABC's Mary Alice Parks.
President Biden warning of the dangers of a second Trump presidency, telling supporters at a star-studded Los Angeles fundraiser last night that this election will have major consequences for the nation's highest court.
The next president is likely to have 2 new Supreme Court nominees, 2 more.
Biden issuing blunt criticism of the court, which right now includes 3 Trump-appointed justices.
The Supreme Court has never been as out of kilter as it is today. I mean,